Reframing Mindset podcast. We are clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity, practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Okay, welcome to Reframe Mindset podcast. My name is Francis, and this episode I talk about it's a grocery lesson one now. So I talk about having the ID grocery and stuff like that and all these things. But we're going to realize this is basically what happens that from that episode. What I realized is that thing is a rough draft based on my basic needs at that time. But I guess it will change over time. This is the lesson that I can realize so far in the grocery shopping stuff. And it's like when I go to a shop or stuff like that, they actually know. That's the reason why I talk about the episode where I talk about value for companies, history, and stuff like that. They know what they actually do. Stuff like that. Will be like sometimes I go to a shop and I realize something. If you go into a home or stuff like that, they're coming from a home, coming out of poverty or stuff like that. And they have a tendency to say, yo, something like, oh, I bought sugar. Let me put in a sugar pan or stuff like that. Or things like that. Sugar pan and all these stuff. And it's like, and that's the reason why you're putting a sugar pan is that you're out there trying to prevent it from going ants or stuff like that where when the sugar open because ants will actually take it or stuff like that. And you're going to realize that that may be not wrong. That, that lesson will be that's the reason why you're coming out of poverty. That's the reason why this lesson is actually you coming out of poverty and stuff like that. Because those are lessons are not wrong. But the way you act, when you purchase it from somebody, they are not stupid either, stuff like that. You have to actually realize that. So sometimes it's that you have to actually change your mindset to actually be like, okay, we all this are trying to become rich. We know this is not trying to stay poor or this is trying to become rich. So we just have to change our way in doing stuff. And what one of the grocery lessons we're gonna realize is that um things are there. When if you ever look and you see you grow up and you see your family out there so cooking Sunday dinner and stuff like that and cooking perfectly. Sunday dinner is always perfect and all these stuff. And it's like, oh my god, and all these stuff. And then what happens that when you actually go out and you're supposed to cook yourself and all these things you're supposed to cook you if you wasn't taking in the lesson of actually cooking and stuff like that, you sometimes actually do some short and cooking and all these stuff. You don't actually go to the or if you're like me and stuff like that and feel like you're swamped and all these stuff, you don't go into the full time. You and that's the reason why compound interest in that thing, right? Sometimes even my half day cooking is actually better than most because I've actually been cooking for a while now. So what happens that this lesson is actually reliable for you to get you closer to actually becoming that sous chef and all these stuff. So what will happen is that you actually bought when you go grocery shopping and stuff like that, you realize that wholesale or what wherever you go, they are not stupid. Where be like sometimes you go and say, okay, I'm gonna get a rice. I'm gonna get a rice. And it's like you see 1 pound of rice or stuff like that or stuff of rice or stuff like that. And you're going to realize that the rice amount is the right amount. It's just that you don't know. Um, you just need to know your servings. Like you have to see, for instance, recipe book and stuff like that, and say something like, "Oh, serving size is this, serving size is this," or stuff like that. Like every product that you actually buy or stuff like that, the the person you buy, the company that make the product actually put effort into it, so we actually see it on the shelf. It was actually went through that rigorous process. You don't see it when you see the finished product. It actually went through the rigorous process of being tested and all this stuff. See, with actually going and you actually pay the money for it, it actually was intended to use that way. So sometimes you actually go to a shop and you say you go there and gonna buy sugar and stuff like that, and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna go and buy by put it in a sugar pan or stuff like that, you're going to actually realize is that sometimes, just like I talk about episode where I talk about maybe sometimes you're gonna see me out there so going, oh, I'll go to KFC and I go to KFC every day and buy I usually buy something like me a certain item on the menu. And what I realize is that every time I go to and buy that certain item after a while, the time that it takes for me to actually go and buy that certain menu item is actually and it's taking long compared to what I'm supposed to be doing. Like for example, a university degree and all this. So have the university degree, have experience and stuff like that now. And still out there so I have to wait 10 times in line for a meal deal or stuff like that in the buying a KFC or stuff like that. That means that um the I'm actually wasting time buying that. It's actually me. I'm supposed to actually go out and buy something bigger, maybe a bucket or stuff like that. If I can't finish a bucket, I would actually go out and buy it and buy and buy it. And what happens that why? Because I'm actually supposed to. Those are stuff that you use to actually push make your demands worthwhile. Where be like, okay, yeah, I'm going out and out there, so I'm demanding 100,000 or stuff like that per month, but the market isn't giving me. Use these things to say, okay, yeah, back in the days I usually buy meal deal and stuff like that. Every day I go and buy meal deal, I I'm waiting in line with 20 school children, all these stuff and all these stuff just to get a three-piece chicken, bro. Let me just go out and actually go out and buy a bucket or stuff like that. Or pay that. Even if the person I gonna realize that even if it takes long to actually get it, you're gonna realize you bought your value of item. That's what you actually value. Or no, you actually buying that and not buying the media. Or you actually usually go there and buy a media or stuff like that. You actually know if you value that or a little less. You'll be like, okay, next time I'm gonna go in there, I'm not going to buy that bucket. I'm gonna buy something else, media, this and that and so on. But you never go back. You never go back and see me go there and just buy a media again. You never see me do that again. You just always see me stuff. So and that relates to the episode where we talk about grocery and stuff. Grocery shopping. You'll be like, oh, going and shopping and stuff like that. Everything on the shelf is there for a reason. There's a reason why sometimes you actually go, you see a small packet of thing, small packet of sugar or stuff like that, and a big packet of it. And it's like, or a big packet of it. You have to buy it relating to the needs. Sometimes you don't know the needs. Sometimes you actually buy the small pack and you'll be like, okay. Then you actually go and realize that, oh, we actually need more of this and stuff like that. Then actually have to rebuy and all this stuff. And then what happens that with time, then you can go out and estimate and say, okay, now I'm going out, I'm gonna buy this and this stuff, and it's gonna last me for a week. And then what happens that now you can mentally budget and be like, oh, I can buy and when I'm going shopping now, I'm gonna buy XYZ. And then because I know that everything on the shelf was there for a reason, I know that when I go and buy XYZ, I know exactly what size of XYZ amount this is gonna buy. And things that and it actually relates to the stuff and be like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be purchasing for my age and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, now it makes sense. And then what happens that you efficiently allocate, you become you actually is where you're supposed to be. You'll be like, okay, yeah. Even if you're actually at the bottom or stuff like that, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, yeah, I'm actually supposed to be out there so buying this and stuff like that. I'm supposed to be out there so actually going out and buying this. And it's like, oh, that's normal. That's normal. Or and what happens is that because I'm supposed to be out there so going buying this, what we're gonna be like, oh, the top means that I'm supposed to be actually buy more of this. So what happens that if me go and can buy a bucket of chicken consistent. That means like, oh, someone over my mother stuff like that can actually buy two or stuff like that. Like we're supposed to pass the days of actually going and buy buying a meal deal or stuff like that. We're supposed to actually buy a bucket of chicken and can't even eat it off and then both maybe like throw it away and stuff like that. No, but um and that's a extreme level and stuff like that. But these are stuff that you actually have to use to come out of poverty. To say, yeah, we if we actually stifle in the bottom if we not attempting these stuff. We'll be like, okay, these stuff are there for a reason. The reason why the bucket of chicken exists. We'll be like, oh yeah, supposed to is not there to show that yeah, just like the lotto, just like the lotto. When you're actually going out and actually pass the rest stuff like that. But that's the cost of knowledge or stuff like that. You can actually realize that the latter is not some that's the cost of knowledge, you know, right? The latter is not fancy um some foreign thing, you know, bro. You actually come in and take your time and study and stuff like that. Boom bang quick, you out there so winning the lotto every day. Like every day you out there so winning the lotto. That's the reason why a lot of it actually being played or stuff like that every day. Because if you actually come out and study and stuff like that, you actually realize that, winning the lot, you can actually win the lotto every day. But if you're yes, winning the lotto and you're acting like a peasant with all that money, everybody going to actually know that something wrong, something wrong. Like legit, the money has moved. More money has moved somewhere. The whole 99%, the whole like that's the thing about Latin, it's a whole bunch of money just move from one place to another place. And what happens is that the person's spending habit is gonna be exposed when they actually receive. And what happens is that they're gonna realize that okay, no, boom, all of a sudden a whole bunch of money just got moved. So what happens is that a whole bunch of people just start experience dehydration, starvation, and stuff like that. And one person just get a whole bunch of money into their account. If they play like them, if they play like the 99% will just lose. And actually, all this acting starvation and stuff like that, we're going to do happen. They're going to die and actually leave the money and actually didn't experience this stuff that they were actually not living how they're supposed to live in and stuff like that. So sometimes be like, okay, when I go out and win the lotto and stuff like that, you have to actually play up your hand and be like, okay, with the lesson, be like, okay, boom, I play my hand, boom, and then I go broke again. You see me out here, so oh my god, he loses wealth again. And all this. So when I actually look and see, maybe I lose it, but you always see the average is BSC or average is me always going and buying a bucket of chicken. You see me out this poor and all this stuff again. You see, oh, back to it's normal BSC, bro man again. It's normal bro man again. But I see bro man now out there so buying and a bucket of chicken because actually I can do that and go and buy a bucket of chicken again. What happens? Everybody are stuff like that. If you actually feel like when actually on my low part again, be like, or if you actually feel like you're higher, it's supposed to at least be able to. If you're not buying a bucket of chicken or stuff like that, and you see me buying a bucket of chicken, you actually are not at my level. That show that's the difference. You'll be like, okay, use it or say, okay, yeah, no, actually, I use the bucket of chicken to say, yeah, I'm a BSC person. You have to actually buy a bucket of chicken now yourself. And then when you actually buy the bucket of chicken yourself, you actually learn the cost of buying the bucket of chicken and be like, oh my god, it's so worth it. I'm gonna work so hard to actually get the bucket of chicken consistently. And I get the bucket of chicken consistently and stuff like that. You don't even hear me talking about the days of me and meal again. You don't even hear me talking about the days of me and meal again. You only hear me talking about the days of a bucket of chicken. And it's like what happens, cause that was what I was supposed to be out there so doing. But what happens that if I didn't go out, what is that? If that wasn't on the menu, no, like everything is on the menu or stuff like that for a reason. There's a reason why there's a kids menu, kids meal, and all these stuff because that was for the kids. Like you're not a kid anymore, and it's like, oh, you're going to realize that sometimes playing it small and stuff like that you're still in the mindset of poverty. But these are lessons that they're gonna actually realize. They'll be like, okay, when I slowly kind of do them and you slowly make some progressive moves, everything gonna start to kind of be like, oh, you're going to naturally go out and be like, oh, naturally, buy a bucket of chicken and be like, oh, what happened? Rich man, I'd be like, oh, rich man, this call it comes in again, come in and buy this. And what happens that to keep it fresh, to keep it fresh. And that's how you actually to be like, oh, to keep it fresh to say, okay, rich man, this coming again. Change up what you buy. So one time I buy this bucket of chicken like 1 and 2 times. If you hear rich man coming again to buy this, that means that okay, you're actually reaching the bottom again. The bottom is actually seeing you. So that means they actually need now to actually buy a bucket and zinger or stuff like that now, or sugar or two from the grocery list now. So those are stuff I actually realize that okay. Every time I come in now and I reach the bottom again and be like, okay, people this so troubling and be like, oh, rich man coming again to buy a bucket of chicken. That means that okay, you're actually back in the bottom now. You're actually back in actually back in the ghetto now. It's actually and stuff like that. That means that you actually need to push it again. And what happens is that they actually have to work harder now. They actually have to buy a bucket of chicken now. So actually come in and say, rich man calling coming again. We're going like, okay, now it's actually for me to buy a bigger bucket of chicken and a big I think again. I never hear that again. Like boom bang quick. They actually buy that. I know. I say use carrot and stick and stuff like that. We'll be like, oh, they actually have to work. They are naturally working towards saying, oh, rich man calling coming again. And not realizing that oh you by you doing that they naturally you're dragging them out of poverty or stuff like that. They have to actually work to come and say rich man calling coming again or stuff like that. They have to actually reach your level to style it and stuff like that. And what happens is that when you actually reach the level to style it, then you actually what happens is that everyone on your level is out there so seeing the criticism and be like, wow, this is the price of actually buying a bucket of chicken. People come in and be like, rich man, calling, coming again, bro, man, rich man, bro. It's like those. And it's like, wow. And it's like, is it worth it for me to get called that? Or is it worth for me to watch the person out there so eating a nice chicken and me out there so starving and walk out rich man, calling, coming again, stuff like that. Stuff like that. You're going to use those stuff to actually force them to say, yo, you actually have to come, actually have to come in and see you. Actually have to reach level to see us. Or actually have to. So those are stuff we're gonna actually use. We'll be like, oh, but this is a lesson of grocery and stuff like that. This is a lesson from grocery. This is a lesson from grocery and stuff like that. We'll be like, everything is everything on the shelf. The core lesson from this episode is that everything is on the shelf for a reason. So when I go to say, for example, you're gonna buy a sugar, there's a reason why there's a 1 pound sugar, 2 pound sugar, 3 pound sugar, and a 10 pound sugar. You're going to actually have to you know that accordingly for every single item you purchase. And when you do that now, what happens is that when you carry it home, you're going to use it effectively. And things like rat and roach and all these stuff won't affect the home because you actually buy it effectively. You don't need to go out and buy a sugar pan and all these stuff. You're gonna be like, okay, yo, I'm just gonna buy 2 pound of sugar and all these stuff because I'm serving for 5 or 10 people and all these stuff. Or you'll be like, oh, let me have an extra pack that I don't open just in case for this or that come or no. Not like that. Be like, oh, you're out there to buy for by expecting that thing. And it's like, oh, if you have an unexpected guest, they are unexpected for a reason. They are called unexpected guests for a reason because they didn't expect it. So it's like they're not supposed to expect anything. And then if you have an unexpected guest, but if you have an expected guest and be like, oh, when are you coming over? It's like, oh, I'm coming over X and Y. It's like, all right, let me. Are you going to want something? And I'm like, yeah, yeah. And like, okay, cool. Let me just check to see if I can actually plan to get you something and stuff like that. Ah, cool. Then boom bang quick, you're out there so. And what happens is that when expected guests come, the serving is actually appropriate to the expected guest. It'll be like, the expected guest gets a good amount of serving. You may not get the best serving. I'll be the first time you actually come and be a guest. But then when they actually come and like, okay, it's better than zero. if you actually want to come again, being like, oh, did I actually like what you actually like the food or stuff like that that time? Like, yeah, and that's the thing about actually growing up. This is let's go into 29 and 30 and stuff like that. Instead of you going around and be like, oh, telling people like, you know, I actually went to Colin Yard and he give me like one piece of chicken and stuff like that and all this, so be like, oh, you can tell the person be like, oh, you know, the serving size did actually fit my but fit me that time. So if I actually come over and stuff like that, this is the thing we actually reach the fast phase of poverty, you always have money and stuff like that. So we actually get the guests and stuff like that. Oh, okay, now I know that now. How much you usually eat? Then be like, ah, cool. That means that every time they come over now, you'll be like, you're gonna expect to get them this, and then when they come over this and that, and then what happens that they comfortable and be like, oh, what happens that that becomes a routine. Be like, oh, you have that extra thing in the stuff waiting for them. How is that they become more than a guest? They become expected. They become expected. So it's like, oh, that now is just it there in the budget until you find. Then what happens that instead that when they that becomes in the budget now, you then you coming now. Oh, rich man calling, have his friend coming over. Oh my God, rich man and his friend coming over. Rich man calling his friend coming over. What does that mean? That means that the stuff that we actually was buying, we actually there's a better way for buying those stuff because what is that if rich man calling his friend is coming over, that means that oh there's a better thing. There's something better than the sugar or stuff like that. You must be buying two more sugar. I must be buying something else. And tongue, less sugar and stuff like that. That means that oh we actually going back to the to the bottom again. If you actually come in and say, oh, rich man calling and his friend is coming over, that means that oh we actually is going back to the bottom again. And stuff like that. Those are stuff where you be like, okay, buying those stuff, you actually make efficient use of the money and your time going spending grocery and actually buying effectively. And what happens that when in the home, and when you actually do that in the home now, you actually decrease the time of messing up, where you be like, oh, yo, there's a having to clean 5 rats. Because that's the thing about 40 own restaurant all this stuff. We still clean the backyard, all this stuff. We still trying to get rid of rats and all this stuff. When we actually fully get rid of all these stuff and all these things, this core lesson is what going to actually prevent you from never experiencing rats again and all these stuff. These I think you're never gonna experience rats or roaches or anything like that again. Or happens that these episodes now is for someone who's just starting and be like experiencing all this stuff. Where I see you out there say rolling, eating and stuff like that. It's like no, these are stuff that we actually go out there so went out and experienced. And the only difference is that we actually actively go out and try to solve these problems. When we actually solve these problems now. That's why it be like, oh, before you come judge you whether have to clean your own room and stuff like that. So when they come out and see me out there saying calling or rich man calling and stuff like that, because I always practicing from the home. So when they're coming up, that means that when they actually those are something actually see those stuff in the home, you're actually practicing what you preach. So when they come here, oh, rich man calling, that means that oh, the practicing of being rich from those days actually somewhat paying off. And that okay, that means that I'm actually on the right track. That's the thing about all these episodes and wherever like these stuff are actually ideas and stuff like that. The name calling and stuff you get on the way is actually the indicator that oh that means that you're actually doing the right things. You're actually getting and stuff like that. Actually getting the right no. One thing, you're actually on the right path, but on the same at the same time if you actually get in those calls, that's an indication that you actually support there's an actual another level for you. You're actually supposed to come and buy something better or stuff like that. Is or else what will happen is that those name calling just keep on being there. Oh you, name calling being there. Like oh and what happens that will realize okay now you're gonna realize that oh boom, all of a sudden you're gonna be like, oh, I buy everything off the shelf. I buy out the store. You'd see something like, oh, this, I'm buying out the store and all these stuff. And be like, oh my God. And that is not impossible, you know. Yes, that thing about bagels. That is not impossible for you to see me come out and buy at the store and all this stuff. And But what happens is that when you actually see me do that, that means there's something better. There's something better. There's actually something more than what I just bought. So for everything I just bought out of the store, that's enough money to buy something new. And I can actually only buy one of that. And then boom bang quickly know about those two. And it's like, oh. So those are things where I be like, this is the basic lesson. I'm buying groceries. I'm going to use that. Though you're gonna use that to actually manage your expect use that and be like, that's the basic lesson. I use that effectively and I be like, oh yeah, yeah. That's basically it for this episode. Thank you for listening. I look forward for the next episode.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.